Okay, good afternoon once again, all of you. Welcome back to Android Programming Lab session. So today's lab session, you will be creating application. So you have to create a application using Google Firebase real-time database. The question I have uploaded in your lab GCR class. The question is, you are going to create a employee management application. Okay. And for storing the employee details, you are going to use Google Firebase real-time database. Okay. So for example, the objective is create an Android application to manage the employee details in Google Cloud Firebase real-time database with a good UI design. Okay. So UI design sample I didn't give, but you have to come up with a unique design. Everyone, you have to design a different unique design for your application. Okay, right? You can use fragments. Just you go to that previous theory class, we have discussed fragment concept that you can use. Any concept you can use for designing the UI. So in your application, what you have to do is you have to store the employee details such as name, employee ID, phone, email, location, designation, salary. And these are the data you have to consider, and you have to store in Google Firebase. Okay. So for doing this operation, you have to create an interface for every operation. So what are the operations you have to do is, these are the operations you have to do. Add new employee details, search employee details by employee ID, update the salary of a particular employee by using employee ID, view all the employee details, and delete employee details. Okay. So in order to do this application, you are going to practice how to store data in Google Firebase database. So now I'll tell you the procedure how to do that. So I have prepared a small PPT for that. I will share that. So I'll share the link in the chat box. Okay, can you click the PPT and check whether it is accessible or not?
Yes, sir. It's accessible, sir.
It is accessible, right? Okay, right. So in this PPT, you can see the procedure for how to connect Google Firebase real-time database. There are two ways we can do that. Actually, here there is a tool called, there is a way tools. If you go to, first you can create a project. So first step is create an Android project in Android Studio. Then you can go to Firebase. Okay, click Firebase. When you click Firebase, you can see there are several services. There is one service called real-time database. Okay, if we expand, you can see there is a link, save and retrieve data. Okay, so you will be getting an option called connect to Firebase. Okay, right? So this is a one way of doing it. Okay, so but this way is actually may not work always. Okay, sometimes you may get error when you click this button. Okay, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain about the manual way of doing the connection with the Firebase, okay, database. In your project, if this is working, you can do that. No problem. You can continue that. Don't worry. You can follow that. Okay. So in my system, it was not working. So that I have followed a manual approach. Okay. In your system, you can try this. If this is not working, you can follow my approach. Okay. Now, in my approach, what you have to do is, first you have to create a Android project. After creating Android project, then you have to go to the Google Firebase website. Okay, just type Google Firebase website. In Google Firebase website, there's a when you search that, you'll be getting a link, right? So can you able to see that? Firebase Google, right? Just open this website. And if you are not login, you can log in. After login, you go to this go to console. There is an option called go to console. Okay, so click go to console. Now the Firebase dashboard will be coming. So here we can configure the Firebase application projects, and we can link the Android projects as well. Okay, actually what we are doing is in Firebase, we are creating one application and we are linking the application with the Android project so that we can store the data in Firebase. So here, these are the two projects already I have created. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate one more project. So there is option add project. Okay, click add project. You may get this window. Okay, so here you have to give the name of the project. Okay, for example, you are going to create employee project, right? Employee, as in that you are going to create employee app. Okay, so you can give the name of the project like this and click continue. Okay, you have to click continue. So are you able to follow that this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just see that. Okay, when you get a time, actually when you have a doubt, you see the PPT slide. Now just go through this, just listen this demonstration. Okay, and here you have to click continue. Okay, so when after creating this project, when you click continue, okay, you will be getting this page, right? Google Analytics for your Firebase project. So that's here you have to click continue option. Okay, and here you have to select the Google Analytics account. There is a default account you can select. Okay, select this one, then create the project. So when you click create project, project will be created within 1 second or 2 seconds. Okay. Okay, so now you'll be getting your new project is ready. So just you have to click continue. When you click continue, the project folder will be opened here. So this is your user dashboard of your project. Okay, employee app. Here you can see that. Okay. So now this is a Firebase project. You can link to your Android application or iOS application or any other application. For example, web application also you can integrate. So there are three choices. Okay, even Unity also integrate. You can iOS application, Android, and web and Unity. You can integrate. So now we are working on Android application, right? So here you have to click. Okay, when you click, this is for making a connection with the Android project. So already I have created one project called Firebase app. So the package name is com.example.firebase app. Okay. So this project only I want to connect to the Firebase. Okay. So I have to first click this Android. First click the Android. So we have to follow this 4 steps. Okay. 4 steps you have to follow. First one is we have to give the package name of the project. Package name will be available here. See, look at that. The package name you can copy here. Just copy that and you can paste it here. Here you can give any name. It is not same name. Okay. It is not a same. Not necessary that you have to give the same Android project name. Any name you can give. It's an app nickname only. Okay. So for example, it's an employee application, right? So I'm going to give employee app as a name of the project. And here you'll be asking, there is a SHA certificate you have to give, okay, for the project. So this certificate, you can get it from this project. You have to go to this Gradle. Okay, when you click Gradle, in the right side, there is option, there is a icon called Gradle, right? So just click the Gradle and you'll be getting this folder. And here you have to expand and select this task. Okay. Inside task, you have to select Android. Just select Android. And there is a one option called sign in report. You have to double click this sign in report. When you double click sign in report, the certificate SHA code will be generated here. See here, you can see the certificate SHA code. Okay. Right. So now here you have to take SHA-1 certificate code. You have to take, just copy this. Okay, you have to copy this and you have to paste in the certificate section. Okay. Now after doing these three data, you have to click register app. Okay. So now you have to click register app. So now the app is actually registered with the Firebase project. And after registration, you can go to the next step. Okay. Now the second step is download the configuration file. So now it will generate one configuration file in a form of JSON format that you have to download. Okay. So I'm just downloading this by click here, download, and you can save it in any place. For example, I'll save it in desktop. I'll save it. Okay. In desktop, I'll save this file. Already one file is there. I'll delete this. Okay. So I'll just save this. Yes. Okay. Now the file is actually saved in desktop. After saving the file, what you have to do is here there is an instruction, right? So we have to copy this file. We have to link this Google-services.json file. We have to link inside the project directory. Okay. So you have to go to the project, and here this one. After doing this one, you can close that. You go to the project structure. In this project structure, here you can see Android, right? Can you able to see Android icon? Android icon.
Yes, sir.
So just click the Android icon uh, and select this project structure. Okay, you go to project structure, and you can see there is a Firebase. You just expand the project. You will be getting a app folder, right? So in this folder only you have to copy that particular file. Okay, you have to copy and paste it. Okay, so I'll just take the file from the desktop. So this is a somewhere it is there. Okay, Google. Yeah, this is the file. Okay, so I'll just copy the file, and you have to paste it inside this app folder. Okay, so now here you have to give OK. So now the JSON file is copied here. You can able to see that. Okay, JSON file is copied here, and it will be opened, and this is a content of the file. So no need to change anything. Just you can close this file. Okay, just you have to copy the downloaded JSON file. After copying the JSON file, now you can go to the next. Just click next button. In next, when you click next button, you will be getting add Firebase SDK option. Okay, so they will give some library files that we have to include in the build.gradle file. So first we have to include in the project level build.gradle file. Project level build.gradle file. We have to include this line. You can just copy this. Here you can click copy and go to your project, and see again change. Listen carefully. Again you have to change it to Android mode. That is in the project structure, right? You have to change it to Android mode. In Android mode, there is a Gradle script. Okay, inside Gradle script, there is a project directory is there, right? Project directory. So open the project directory. Sorry, project Gradle file. Inside already you have this one, right? So after that, just paste it. Okay, so after that line, you just paste that code. Okay, so this is one step you have to do. And after that, you have to make sure that you are having a Google function here. Google function is already available. Just ensure that Google function is already there or not. Okay, then come to the app level build.gradle. App level build.gradle. So that is another file. This file, second file. Open this app.gradle file. Already we have apply plugin com.android.application, right? In the next line, you just add this second one. Okay, Google services plugin you have to link. Google services plugin you have to link. Then you have to include these two dependencies in the dependency section. Okay, inside dependency section, you have to include the two dependencies. What are the dependency? This one. First one is BOM file. So just copy that, and the next line place it, and go to next line, copy this and place it here. Okay, so two lines. After adding two lines, okay, next one more thing you have to include. Okay, one more thing you have to include that is not available here. It is available in the PPT. Okay, so that is actually needed. We have to set a Java virtual machine version. Okay, that is also we have to use. Okay, so in where it is. Okay, Okay, so this slide, okay, if you go to the slide number 22, if you go to slide number 22, you can see there is a compiler option is there, right? Compiler option, okay. So this compiler option, you just copy this compiler option and you can put it in the Word file. Okay, this is a compiler option, okay. Java version 1.1 underscore 8, okay. Just copy this and you have to keep it in the same uh, app Gradle file, same app Gradle file. So here, before that default config, here you can paste it. Okay, just paste it here. Okay, after build tools version, just paste these two lines. That is I have given in the slide. Okay, you have to paste it. Okay, you got it, right? So after doing that, now you can go to see the step. Now you have to click synchronize now. Okay, in your project, there is an option called synchronize now in the top right side corner. Just click synchronize now. So now you have to wait. It start downloading the necessary files and it will configure the project. Okay. Okay, so now the configuration is successful. Okay, so now we can ensure that the database is connected. Okay, in our project. Okay, database connected in our project, right? So after that, just click here next button. Okay, in the Google Firebase, click next button. Now you will be getting a confirmation message that you are ready. Now we can store the data in the Firebase. So now you have to click the continue to the console. Okay, so when you click the continue to the console, here you can see the Firebase project employee app and the linked Android application also. Here you can see this is the nickname of the linked Android project that we have configured now. Okay, so here you can see that. Okay, so like this, many project you can configure, you can link to this particular Firebase database. Okay, got it. So after that, you just go to the our project directory. You can close this build Gradle as well as project Gradle. One more thing you have to do is you have to go to tool section, click Firebase. Okay, tool section, you click Firebase, and again the same procedure. You go to real-time database. Okay, real-time database, save and retrieve data. Click save and retrieve data. There is a second option is there, right? Can you able to see the second option? You have to click add real-time database to your app, because we need a reference of the database, real-time database classes. Okay, we need the reference to the, we need to refer the real-time database libraries. Okay, so for that we have to click this button. Okay, so when you click this button, this will tell you that we are going to update, we are going to use this dependency. Okay, so accept changes. Okay, so when you click accept changes, so configuration successful, right? Now it's everything is done. You can just close this. Okay, so project is now configured and it is actually ready to interact with the Google Firebase. Okay, so now let's see the Google Firebase database. Okay, so you go back to the website again. There is a left side, you can see real-time database. Okay, just click real-time database. Okay, so you will be getting this like this. Okay, so it will, there is an option called create database. So we can create a database. First thing, we have to create a database. So when you are creating a database, you can select the location of the database. Currently these are the location available as a free service, and click next. And here this page is very important. Okay, there are two mode of operation. One is locked mode and next one is test mode. In test mode only we can able to try insertion and deletion and okay, by any user in this particular database. Okay, so when you're developing, you have to do it in test mode. Okay, and this test mode will be available only for 30 days. After that it will be go to the locked mode. Okay, so now you just click enable. Okay, just click enable. Okay. So now the database is created for your project. Okay. So you look at that here. Database is created called employee app 587. Some name you'll be getting. So this is a database reference. Okay. Node. Okay. So but if you look at that, it is not like a MySQL database, or it is not like a Oracle database. Okay. So for that you should understand what is real-time database. The real-time database is actually a NoSQL database. Okay. So Firebase is a NoSQL database. So NoSQL means what? We are not going to use any SQL queries to store or retrieve the data. Okay. So Firebase store the data in tree structure. Okay. So everything follows a tree structure. So there is a root node. From the root node, we can have children nodes. The children node may have another children nodes, and the children node will be having a leaf nodes also. The leaf node will be having the data. Okay. So like that only the data is actually managed and structured in Google Firebase real-time database. Okay. So now the database is created. Now if you want to create uh, one data, okay, for example, I want to store all the employees in one node. Okay. So how will you do that? There is a plus option is there. Just click plus and give the name of the node. For example, I want to store employees is the node name. Inside this employees, I want to store so many employees. So just click this plus symbol. You will be getting like this. So inside this, when you are storing every employee details, we have to store inside one node to identify the particular employee details. For example, I want to store the employee ID is 101. Okay. Inside this employee ID 101 only, I want to store the data. Okay. I'll do it for students. Example, students database. Okay. Students details I'm going to store. Okay. So when I click here, I'm going to consider only 3 data. Okay. Every student I'm going to represent as a one node. So the node I'm going to give as a register number. Okay. I'm going to give the node as a register number. So what we can do is register number. The value is actually 101. Okay. Sorry, not. Let's try this 101 and click here. Okay, when you click that particular plus symbol, see here what I'm doing is students. Under students, I'm creating a first student node. That's a uniquely identify the student. I'm giving the register number. This is a 101 is a register number. Okay, so here I'm giving the register number as 101. Okay, and here if you click here, you can add few more data. Okay, so for example, name of the student Raju. Okay, and again click in this node, and for example, I want to store CGPA. Okay, I want to store register number names to CGPA. Okay, so 7.8. Okay, so whatever there in the PPT, I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so now like this only every data you have to store. Okay, so I'm just clicking add button. Okay, so now when I click add button, the data will be stored. See now under students, we have a node called 101. 102 represent the unique register number of the particular student. Okay, good. And the student will be having many data. So like that, node by node, you have to store the data in Firebase. Okay. So now this is how manually store data in this table. Okay. So now we are going to see how we can store from our Android application, Android project, how to store the data students on this particular data in this table. Okay. So for that, go to the Android project. So first of all, what you have to do is you have to design the interface. I'm not going to design a full interface. So I'm going to just create one button. Okay, when I click the button, I want to store. So manually, I'm storing the data. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate only manually. So you have to do it with the good interface. Okay, so first I'm going to take one button. So this button is actually for saving the data. Okay, so I'll just put a save. Okay, save data. Okay, or just save is enough. Okay, good. So this button is for save, and similarly I'm going to add another button for view. Okay, for viewing the data, viewing all the data. Okay, and we have to position this to button. Okay, so like this we want to add some more buttons. Okay, some more buttons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two functions. One is public void save. Okay, inside view is needed. Okay, I'm going to link this function. I'm going to link the button with this function. Okay, okay, using save, I'm going to link save function, and view button I'm going to view data. Okay, using this function view data function, I'm going to link this button. Okay, so this particular button. So for that, already you know that, right? There is a way. When you click this right side, you can see on click. Okay, you can see there is an attribute called on click. Here you can select this function. See, when you add some function, listen carefully. When you add some function here in this activity, that function will be coming here in the on click. You can select which function you want to link. I have linked the to save. Now I will click this button view. Here I can select which function you want to link, view data. Okay, so what I'm doing is uh, when you click this button, I want to call that function. Okay, when I click the function button, I want to call the function. Okay, so this is for save and this is for view. Okay, so when you click view, we need a one list view, right? So in list view only I'm going to display the data. Okay, I'm going to display the data. Otherwise, instead of list view, I'm going to create, okay, one text view. Okay, for simplicity I'm going, otherwise I think list view is better. Okay, so I'll do it as a list view. Go to this legacy and select this list view. Just keep it here, and after that you can just we can change the size of the list view, and we can position that. So top you can position to the bottom of the save button, and you can give some gap also. Okay, some 50 gap. Okay, so inside this list view I'm going to save it. So to see the list view, we'll put some okay, we'll put some color. Okay, gray color, some color we'll put. Okay, so to see the difference. Okay, so inside the list view I want to view all the data. Okay, so for this list view we'll give a ID also. Okay, right, so this is very simple interface only. Okay, so my objective is when I click this save button, I want to save few student details. Okay, manually I will give, and when I click view, I want to display here. Okay, now let's go to the main activity. So how to do that? How to access the Firebase database? Okay, so for that, in Google Firebase itself, sorry, if you go to this tools Firebase section. Okay, in Firebase section there is a real-time database, is right? Just click real-time database. Here you have a sample code. Okay, for how to get the database reference and all. Okay, we need a database reference, right? Using database reference only we can able to access the database. Okay, we can able to access the database, right? So also I have given in the slide, I think here it is there. Okay, getting the reference of the, yeah, so here, so here there is a code. Okay, Firebase database dot get instance dot get reference. Okay, so like this only we have to access the database. Okay, so first thing is we have to create a database reference. Database reference we have to create. So just you have to create a database reference. This is a DB object database. DB means database object. This DB object we can initialize using Firebase database dot get instance dot get reference. Here what I'm going to refer is I'm going to refer the collection. Okay, so Firebase is a collection of data, right? So here student, under students collection only I want to store. So this is a reference name. Students is the reference name for my for for my data storage. Okay, so we have to give students as a reference name. So this will access the student node. Now in this student node, using this reference DB, I can store some data. I can store data. Okay. So how I have to store? I want to store CGPA, name, register number. All these data I want to store at a stretch. Okay. So in order to do that, we have to create one Java model. Okay. Java model is nothing but a class. Okay. We have to represent a class. We have to create. So for that, just go to the project directory, click app, go to the Java package, select the Java package, right click, new, select new Java class. Okay, add new Java class. Okay, add new Java class. Here we can give a name of the class. For example, I'm dealing with student, right? So we can give a name of the class as student. Okay, so I'll give student class. Okay, so this is a model for representing one object data. Okay, so this object, this class, you have to implement serializable so that it can be able to write in the database. So Java serialization, hope you remember in the second year you have studied, right? Java serialization is used to write the student data in a database or file or anything. That class must be a serializable. Okay. And after that, you can prepare the data. For example, I want the name. So the first one is actually we need a register number, right? So register number and name of the student. Then CGPA is double, right? CGPA. Okay. So after adding these two data, these three data only we are going to store. See, CGPA, name, register number. Okay. Create a variable. Then after creating a variable, we have to include constructor. So right click, generate constructor. Generate constructor. First one is we need an empty constructor. Don't select any field. Click OK. You'll get empty constructor. Then we have to introduce parameters constructor. Now press Control and select all these fields. Click OK. Okay. So now we have a constructor. Now we have to add setter getter methods. Okay, setter getter methods, because this actually must be private. Okay, all the data we have to keep it private. Through setter getter method only we have to give access. Okay, so some security will be there. The data can be secured, right? So go to here and you can generate a setter getter method. Select generate getter and setter. Select all the fields. Okay, now everything is ready. See, uh, no, you have no need to type any code except this implements. I have typed only, so except this variables, right? I have typed only the variables. The remaining you can generate automatically. Okay, got it? So like this, you have to prepare one model first. Okay, two empty constructor and parameters constructor, setter getter method. Okay, so after creating this model, now you can go back to the main activity. Now we can write the logic for saving the data. Okay, we can write the logic for saving the data. Okay, so when you click the save button, the save button is linked to view data, right? Sorry, the save button is linked to save function. There is a function called save, right? So now go to that inside the function. Okay, now prepare the data. Okay, usually we have to read the data from the text box, right? Now for practice, what I'm doing is I'm going to consider one register number. Okay, is equal to 102. I'm going to store a register number 102. Okay, and string name is equal to some name. Okay, for example, Ashok. Okay, and double CGPA is equal to 7.9. Okay, got it? So this data only I want to store. Say in your program, you have to get all the data from the interface. Okay, now using this data, we can create a student. We have a model, right? Create a student object. Just use the constructor. Okay, you pass this value as a constructor data parameter. So now the data is ready. So now what we can do is we can store. To store that, you need this DB reference. This DB reference we have to use. Okay, so that you have to call inside a try catch block. Okay, inside try catch block, inside exception may come. So if there is exception, you can display the exception. This e dot get message post dot length dot show. Okay. Inside try block, take this db reference, db dot. Okay. So there is a function called child. Okay. Listen carefully. Now it's a very important concept. Okay. In this, actually, this db is referring to students. Okay. db is referring to student node. Okay. db is referring to this student node. Inside student, I want to create one more node called 102. I want to create one more node called 102, and inside 102 I want to store the student object data. Okay. So for that, so this 101 is a child of student, so we have to introduce one child. We have to create one child inside db reference using child function. So child function will take only string data. Okay. But of course we want to take register number only, the node number, right? Node number is register number, that is integer. So what you have to do is convert as a integer by using value of register number. Okay. So that register number you have to do. Okay. Then to store the data, already we have prepared the data here, right? OB. So just calls, there is a function called set value. Set value. Here you have to pass the object. Which object? The student object. Okay. So under this child node 102, the complete student data will be serialized. It will be stored. Okay. So after that we can display the successful message. Okay. For example, data saved. Okay. Data saved successfully. Okay. So now this is a very simple procedure. Okay. Saving is just one line only. db.child of, you have to give the node name and you have to set the value of the student object. Okay. Now let's try this program. I'll run the program. Okay, I think there is a small changes I have to make. I think I do have to change it to app. Okay, Firebase app. So that is actually a small mistake. So now let's wait for the output. Okay, so now, can you see the app is actually running in the emulator? Now let's go back to the Firebase database. So this is a database. We are trying to insert the data. So when I click the save button, the manual data that we have created here, right? 102, Ashok, this data should be stored. That is our intention, right? So now let's try that. So I have clicked the save button. Now when I click the save button here, you can see that one node is created, 102. And when you click that, the data 7.9 Ashok 102 is coming. The whatever the manual data here is coming, right? If you want to change one more data, just change the 103. And actually one more thing you have to understand, this is a primary key. Okay, listen carefully. 101, 102 is a primary key. You cannot have a duplicate node like this. Okay, if you want to store 103, you can store, but you cannot create a 102 again. The children should be unique. Children is similar to a primary key. Okay, got it? So now I'll try to create one more student, 103, that is Vmax, and this is 8.1. Okay, I want to store this. So I'll do this, I'll run again. And one more thing, look at that, it is a real-time database. Okay, so why it is called real-time database is, we can actually the synchronization of data is actually very fast, and it will be real time. So here you can see that how when data is immediately data will be coming there. See, so real time means the synchronization more faster than the MySQL or any other data. Okay, so I'm clicking the save button again. See, one more data is added called 103. Got it? 8.1 Vmax 103. How to retrieve the data? Okay, how to retrieve the data? Okay, so retrieving the data, I have another function view data, right? So here I'm going to write the logic for viewing the data. Okay, so where I'm going to view the data, I have created one list view, right? So I have created one list view. Inside this list view only I'm going to display. Okay, I'm going to display inside this list view. Okay, so the list view ID is list view. So first we have to find the list view. Okay, and for this list view we need array adapter. So everything we can create here itself. We need an array adapter for populating the data, and we need an array list also, because first we are populating the data in the array list, then using array adapter we are populating the data from array list to that list view. Okay, so array adapter we need the list also, list of data also you need. Okay, so these two variable you have to create: list view, array adapter, and array list of string type. Everything we are going to consider as a string type list. Now here we have to initialize one by one. List view is a view component, UI component. You can find, let's find the list view r.id.list view. Then array adapter, you know how to create array adapter, new array adapter, this keyword, okay, android dot r dot layout dot symbol list item. That's a format. And here we are going to display the content of the array list, that list. Okay, one more parameter here you have, this is a list. Okay, this particular list. Okay, so before this I think you have to initialize the list. Okay, list we have to initialize before that. So new array list. Okay, so currently it's an empty array list, we have to populate. Okay, so it's an empty array list, empty list. The data we have to populate from this view data. This function only we have to populate the data. Okay, right? After creating that, we have to link the list view with the array adapter. So list view dot set adapter, just link the array adapter. Okay, now the list view and array adapter is linked, and array adapter is linked to list. Okay, so if you put some data in the list, it will come to the list view automatically. Okay, so now let's see how to populate the data in this list. Okay, so for that we have to go for event handling. Okay, so since it is a real-time database, we want the updated data. Okay, so whenever you add data, okay, so there is an event will be generated. Okay, so you can access the event by using db reference dot add value event listener. Okay, add value event listener. Okay, so this listener we have to use for reading the data. Okay, and inside new value listener you have to generate. Okay, so value listener of anonymous inner class you have to generate inside. So this function will be generated. Okay, so add value event listener inside new value event listener, these two functions, on data change, on cancelled. Okay, got it? Clear? So now in this on data change, there is a one object will be coming called data snapshot. Okay, data snapshot. Okay, so what will happen is that when this data on data change is called, okay, when on data change is called, what will happen is this function will be sorry, this when this data is called, the complete data, okay, complete data will be come as a data snapshot format. So this is one object format where you can see the all the data. Okay, so by accessing this data snapshot we can able to see the data. Okay, so for that what you have to do is you have to iterate. Okay, go for enhanced for loop. Okay, data snapshot, create one variable data snapshot data colon. Okay, from this snapshot the list of data, right? Got it? So I have given the code. I think you can refer the code in this PPT also. Okay, so I have given view data somewhere else. Okay, yeah, this view data. Okay, in slide number 35 it is there. Okay, so we have to iterate like this. Okay, so snapshot, so snapshot is an object, right? We have to take one by one. Okay, we have to take the iterable object inside all the data will be there. So for that, you have to call get children. So this get children will give a collection of snapshot. From that collection of snapshot, we can able to read one by one. Okay. So this data contains the key value pairs. Okay. So first, if you want to read the key, we can read like this. See, the same coding only. Okay. If you want to read the key, you can read the key and store it in a variable data dot get key. Okay. Similarly, if you want to access the value, okay, you want to access a value. The value is actually value contains, listen carefully, we are getting the data from, actually this is a key, 101, 102, 103 is a key. What is the value? The value contains 3 data. So we can get all the data as one object. Okay, we can get all the data as one object in a form using this student model. We have already created student model, right? So for that, you create a student object equal to data dot get value function. Okay, you have to call get value. Inside, give the model class. I want in the form of student object. So what will happen is, so this line, what is happening is, one student object will be created. Listen, one student object will be created by using this empty constructor. Okay, here we have, by using this empty constructor, student, by using this empty constructor, one student object will be automatically created, and the value register number name CGPA is copied from the node, and it will return the student object. Listen carefully, it will return a student object by preparing the name register number CGPA from this data snapshot. Okay, so now we can display the data. Okay, so the output we can prepare like this. Output is equal to on, sorry, it is not on, it is object. Okay, I'll take it as object. Object dot, first we can read the register number. Okay, then after that, plus we can put a comma, plus I want to display in the list view, right? In this format, get name plus comma, then ob dot CGPA. Okay, so this is a data I'm going to store it in this list view. Okay, here I have a list view, right? Can you able to see that? Here I have a list, array list. In this array list, I want to store it. Okay, so list dot add output. Okay, so data will be coming to the data list dot add. Okay, so before that, what we have to do is the previous data, whatever, if there is anything in the list, array list, if there is any previous data is available, you have to clear it. Okay, you have to clear it. When you call on data change, the first line you have to clear the list view and add the list view. Now the for loop is will be continued for 3 students, and all 3 students data will be populated in the array list. After that, we have to alert the array adapter. We have to notify the data set changed. Okay, so that it will update the list view. Okay, it will update the list view. You got it? So this notify data set change after the for loop you have to write. Okay. I think there is a small mistake. It's a get name. Okay. I think get register number. I think get register number. So now I'll run the program again. Now let's see how we can read the data. We have 3 student data. Okay, so when you click view, the data will be coming here. See, in the list view, 101 Raju, and the data is coming 0.0. Let me see that why it is. And 102 is coming 7.9 correctly. 103 is coming 8.1. Why 101 is coming 0.0? ob.get register number, get name, get CGPA. CGPA spelling correct only, right? 101 is 7.8, right? Some mistake, maybe. Okay, one more thing I'll change. Here we'll try to change it. So it will update here. And 9.1, I'll put 9.1, okay? Nothing is changing, right? Oh, actually, there is a small mistake, okay? This is a capital letter, right? So I'll just will modify this. Let's see how to modify. Okay, otherwise we can delete that, okay? I will delete this 101 and I will recreate this, okay? 101 I'll recreate and add 101 register, register number first one, right? Register number 101, add one more children, name, what is that name? Raju, right? Raju. And CGPA, we have to give small letter, okay? It's a case sensitive, okay? Maybe due to that, 9.1, add. Now I have added. Now let's check. See, look at that. 101, Raju, 9.1 is coming. See, if I modify, immediately it is coming here. It is binding, right? That's what real-time database is most faster, okay? Faster synchronization, okay? I have changed just now. See, look at that 101, Raju 9.1 is coming here. If you add one node here, immediately that node will be coming here. Okay, for example, if I add one more node, okay, 104. Okay, I'm going to add 104. Register number 104. Sorry, that is coming. See, 104 none null is coming. So again, we'll add some few more data. Register number, name, Arul, and one more node I will add. Okay, not, I think not here. Here we have to add, right? Register number and so register number already there, right? Name, Vmax. Vmax is already there. What is, for example, Karunya? Okay, we can add name Karunya. We can add CGP also. 8.8 add. So now look at that 104 contains 8.8 Karunya 104. Look at that, it's coming here 104 Karunya 8.8. Okay, so that's why it's called as a real-time database. Immediately it will synchronize in the UI design. Okay, in the UI, immediately it will update the data. Okay, and if you want to do that updation, okay, just go through that. Updation we can do it, deletion also we can do it. Okay, see the PPT, I have given the sample code for update. So updation you can directly do with the hash map. Okay, so you can do with hash map. And for example, I want to update the CGPA of a particular student. Okay, I can use this code. Okay, so I'll write this logic and I'll show you. Okay, I'll copy that. See, update function I have done. Import the class, right? So now register number in register number 1 or 2, I want to update a new CGPA. Okay, new CGPA I want to update. Okay, what is actually old CGPA? In 1 or 2, old CGPA is 7.9. I want to update as 9.2. Okay, so what you have to do is very easiest way is you can create a hash map. Simple hash map you create, put the data map dot put. I want to update the CGPA field. I want to update the CGPA, right? So CGPA is the key and pass the new CGPA. Now write the try catch block. Inside you check, put a if condition. First you have to check whether this 1 or 2 is available or not, right? First you have to check 1 or 2 is available or not. If the 1 or 2 is not available, you cannot update. Okay, you cannot change it. So you check db.child of string register number, is it not equal to null or not? If it is not equal to null, just refer that node and call update children, pass the map. How you want to update? As per this key, I want to update. So it will update only the key CGPA. Okay. So the function for updation is this one, update children. Update children is used for changing the value. The which value you want to change, you have to put it in a hash map with the proper key. The key should be equal. Key should be matching. It's a case sensitive. Okay. So now 7.9, right? So now this will be done. Okay. So I have to link this update function with the interface. So I'll create one more button. I'll create one more button. Here I'll put the button. Okay. So just do the 1 minute. Constraints, top constraints, right constraint, and left constraint. And just you can position that. I'll position nearby this. So this is for update, changing the change CGPA. Okay. And when I click the button, I want to call the function. See, go to on click, update. Okay. So the this button is linked to this update function. Inside update function, we have written the code. Okay. Hash map, find the child, check whether the child is null or not. If it is not null, update the children. Okay. So now I'll run the program again. Now see the database here. See the database, real-time database. So when I click the update button, immediately the data value will be changed. You can see that. Sunday phone. Okay, it's coming, right? So listen, I'm trying to change the 1 or 2 CGPA. Okay, 7.9 is the CGPA I want to update. Okay, so now I'll click view. When you click view button, you can see the data, current data. See that 1 or 2 having 7.9. I will update. See, change to 9.2. Look at that. Here also it's modified. Here also it's modified. Right? Okay, the same way you can do the deletion also. Okay, to delete, okay, there is a function called the same concept only, deletion. Okay, you have to call remove value. There is a function called remove value. Okay. Okay, I'll just show you that out demonstration also. I'll create one more function called delete. Okay, delete view inside. I want the same code only. Okay, same update code we have to. I want to delete a particular record. So this hash map is not necessary. Okay, I want to delete. Okay, so register number 2, I want to delete. Okay, so what you have to do is just to call this very simple. Find the child, and there is a function called remove value. Okay, just one function, remove value function. That node, complete node that particular child will be deleted. Okay, the 102, that particular node will be deleted immediately. Okay, so I have created a delete function. So again, let's go back to this UI design. I'm creating one more button. Okay, okay, one more button, I'll keep it here. Okay, so this button is for deletion. Okay, I want to delete. Okay, and this button I want to link to on click delete. So just click on click, delete function is there, right? So link the delete function. Okay, so now I'll run again. So see, I have a 101, 102, 103, 104. So 4 records are available. So now when I click that delete button, I'm targeting 102. Okay, 102 record I'm going to delete. Okay, so let's see that. So first click view. When I click view, see we can able to view all the data. See 4 records we can able to view, and I will click delete. See now 102, 102 you got red color highlighting. Did you see that? Have you seen that? 102 red color highlighted and it will be removed. And in this list view also, the 102 record is not available now. Okay. Okay, right. So how will you delete this function? Okay, remove value function is used for deleting the child node. First, you have to refer the child node using the register number, because register number is a child node, right? Call remove value. For updation, update children. And for viewing the data, you have to use this add value event listener. You have to write this anonymous inner class on data change, on cancel, this function override this procedure. Okay.